Our guy sits frustrated, 10 years gone, and he still doesn't get why he was summoned. Flashback, messy desk, phone, light novel, open comic. He wonders why him, just a normal dude, dragged to save a fantasy world. Young him, bright smile at his computer. Life on Earth was fine, perfect even. His face darkens. Why does this world lump him in with all the losers from stories? He stares at a fallen knight, asking if he also thinks this whole setup feels wrong. The knight lies silent among bodies. The hero mocks. Funny how the guy talks so much when alive. Suddenly cheerful, he grins. Time for the Demon King. Let's finish this fast. A dark hall, a massive throne looms. He narrates, "This is a world where only power rules, a savage's paradise." Walking forward, he reminds himself, they call him the hero, the apostle of justice, but he never chose that. The natives forced it on him, summoned him, labeled him. Then he kicks down the huge door where the Demon King is. In front of him, the sight, Demon King on a towering throne of bones. A booming voice shakes the hall. Finally, you reach this place, chosen hero. The hero looks up, calm. You're the Demon King, right? That's right, the figure snaps back, triumphant. Rising, his dark aura erupts. He claims the title, Pinnacle of Evil, the ruler of darkness. My name is Pedinar. The hero smirks. Finally, this one feels real, not another clone. His grin twists, predatory. To him, Pedinar is a one-way ticket back to Earth. The Demon King laughs, aura swirling pink and purple. He compliments the hero's eyes, hungry for victory. He likes it. The hero cuts him cold. Wait, there's something he wants to ask before the fight. Sword in hand, he asks why the Demon King just sat back and let his subordinates die for 10 years. The Demon King's glowing red eye narrows. He admits watching was unpleasant. From above, he explains he sent stronger subordinates for revenge, but they died too. He continues, so he sent even stronger ones, and they died again. Leaning forward, he asks if the hero is just upset for surviving by luck. Annoyed, he fires back. If the Demon King acted from the start, he wouldn't be here now. He adds, the Demon King lost countless subordinates and property in those 10 years. The Demon King, the biggest sponsor. An image of treasure and a jeweled sword flashes. Each loss made the hero stronger. The Demon King snaps, calling it meaningless. Does the hero even know demon politics? Be silent. The hero grips his sword tighter. Talking won't work. He admits the question that haunted him for 10 years will never be answered, but it doesn't matter anymore. In a blur, he lunges forward with blinding speed. His thoughts sharpen. He will escape this savage fantasy world. The Demon King charges a massive sphere of purple energy to counter. The Demon King unleashes the blast. The throne room floor shatters under the massive explosion. The hero scoffs. I don't need fake, cheap tricks. The smoke clears. The Demon King lies broken in a crater. The hero stands tall, declaring his 10 years weren't a waste. The Demon King, battered and wheezing, whispers, "Hero." He asks if that strength came from the rage of losing comrades. A memory flashes. His companions, a warrior, an elf, a red-headed woman, and a young girl. The hero answers flatly, no. His face is grim. Cold eyes stare down at the fallen king. He explains, it's just the result of training. The Demon King, bleeding and broken, smiles faintly, accepting the truth. He coughs out his final words, calling it a remarkable fight. The hero stands over the dissolving Demon King. He mutters, hey, is this the end? He yanks his sword free from the king's chest, a scoff. Huh. Then he breaks into manic laughter. Looking skyward, he shouts at the god of this world. He's kept the promise. The Demon King is dead. Arms raised, he begs to be sent back to Earth immediately. Tears streak down his face as he dreams, caring for his parents, dating, gaming, eating, even watching the Olympics. But most of all, he craves a flushing toilet after 10 years. A soft, feminine voice calls, Hero Nim. and asks if he enjoyed his adventure. He spins around, startled. "Who's there?" he demands. From purple mist, a slender figure with long hair and elven ears takes form. He points, shouting, "Who are you?" Panic hits. He wonders aloud if this is a hidden boss. The figure stays calm. She reveals she has watched you for 10 years. She is the god of this world. The hero looks away, unimpressed. "Ah, is that so?" She tells him the true hero's path was harsh. She adds that people supported him, forming countless bonds to cheer him on. A flashback shows his old party as she says he learned friendship and love from them. She explains that only by growing together he was able to defeat the Demon King. She warmly congratulates him. Then she summons a glowing purple tablet. "Shall we check your report card?" The hero groans annoyed, but agrees. His eyes bulge. "Wait, report card?" he shouts as the glowing slab appears. She tells him to read carefully. The report card appears. Kang Han-soo, hero. Combat power, S. Achievements, A-. Reputation, D+. Character, F. One last line glows. Remark. In bold letters, "Why did you kill your perfectly sane comrades?" The hero's face twists with rage, sweat dripping down. A grim montage, his dead companions, Gumhee, Yu Jung Wang, Yunja, Yong Byung Wang. Through clenched teeth, he mutters, "Yes." He starts to explain. Indeed, he did confirm significant abuse, but his voice hardens. He feels like he was the only one who faced combat, and feels their training was just an excuse to beat him down and trample his rights. A picture of Kang Han-soo with a crazed grin, shouting his arms up with his party behind him charging into a battle. He roars in fury, demanding why the report card dared to call them sane. He rants, if he listed every unfair thing they did to him over 10 years, it would never end. He complains their training was just an excuse to beat him down and trample his rights. He recalls one moment when a crazy party member shamelessly flashed her body at him. He yells that she even came at him with the sword right after. His voice hardens. Killing them was rightful revenge. The god cuts in, cold. "You failed." She drops the line, "With great power comes great responsibility." She explains, "Your personality doesn't match the power you wield." She declares, "You'll return to the first day of the test for world order and peace." He shouts back, cursing, order, and retest, refusing to accept it, calling her a spoiled god. A magic circle glows beneath his feet, trapping him. As the light grows stronger, horror strikes him. Are the comrades he killed alive again? The thought makes his skin crawl. The circle activates, vanish going right back to 10 years ago. His sword, armor, cloak all clatter to the ground as his body fades away. Her voice echoes, "All the faculty and staff are praying for your success." His shadowy form tumbles through a swirling vortex of light and color. Cut to a summoning chamber. 5 robed figures stand over a glowing circle. Kang Han-soo sits in his school uniform, dazed. Retest, day 1! His face twists in total shock and disbelief. His mind screams in horror. Is it real?
In class, one of Kang Han-soo's buddies suddenly blurts out he wants to quit studying and head to a fantasy world. A nearby girl gasps in shock. He proudly flashes a notebook. His dream is to rescue a princess stolen by the Demon King and marry her. Another friend scoffs. Forget princesses, he wants an adventure with hot women from all kinds of races. He smirks and asks if they studied history and science for nothing. Why not rule a fantasy world with nukes? The second friend fires back, reminding him he only scored 30 in science. He insists the real ultimate power would be forbidden 10-circle magic. The pragmatic one rolls his eyes. Magic talk is nerd stuff. He declares martial arts from a martial world would beat them all. Then both turn to Kang Han-soo. "What about you? What do you want to do?" He goes blank, a blue aura flickering around him. Inside, Hansu echoes the question, "Something I want in a fantasy world?" The focus shifts to his torso. His phone rests in his hand. On the screen, a picture of a modern bathroom, a toilet in clear view. His thoughts whisper, "My dream." A caption cuts in, 10 years ago. Suddenly, a brilliant blue light engulfs him in the middle of class. He's lifted off the ground, sucked into his summoning spell, while his friends gape below. His phone slips from his grip, clattering onto the classroom floor. Kang Hansu, back in his school uniform, finds himself standing inside a glowing summoning circle, robed figures all around. He realizes instantly it's the same place from 10 years ago, not a dimension transfer, but the cursed hero kidnapping magic circle. No more masculine arm, back to day one. Shock floods his face. He's back to nothing, no gear, no items. The only thing he still has are his memories of those 10 brutal years. The god appears again, calm but sharp. "You failed." She warns him not to take her lightly. 3,650 days, 87,600 hours, 10 whole years is no joke. She illustrates, long enough for a newlywed couple to have a child and watch them off to elementary school. He recalls the scorn and humiliation from his damned comrades. Then suddenly, a sweet voice, "Welcome, Hero Nim." He trembles, clutching his head, overwhelmed. Then a sweet-faced smile. She calls out sweetly, "Welcome, Hero Nim." Kang Hansu recalls his very first summoning, how that certain girl was the first to speak to him. Bright blonde Lanuel leans in, asking if he's come to his senses. He flatly answers, "No." She stammers in shock. Inside, he notes, this is the archaeologist, the summoner who dragged him here. Lanuel pulls back the curtain, saying he must be confused, but needs to focus quickly. She throws her arms wide to the view outside. This is Fantasia, a dazzling cityscape. As she explains, it's a whole other dimension, far from his birthplace. The view zooms on a towering, official-looking building at the city center. Unimpressed, Kang Hansu crosses his arms. So, if we summarize it, Demon King Pedonar awakened, humanity doomed, so they summoned a prophesized hero. He asks, "That about right?" Lanuel excitedly praising his flawless summary. Now sitting on the floor, he smirks to himself while she looks surprised. Of course it's perfect, he thinks, because he already knows. He crushed Pedonor's skull for this very reason. He reflects, he's already seen the epilogue of this so-called story. Meanwhile, Lanuel beams and cheerfully admits she forgot to introduce herself. He sighs, visibly annoyed. She explains she's an archaeologist who followed a prophecy and summoned him while chasing legends. Her name, Lanuel, means truth in the ancient tongue. Inside, Hansu notes, 10 years later, she's still as gorgeous as ever. He remembers his younger self, a pubescent boy, utterly entranced by her beauty back then. Shaking it off, he snaps, "Don't smile so brightly, it pisses me off." He flinches at his rudeness. He doubles down, "Stop pretending to be cute." His face twists with anger. Does she think it's funny he was kidnapped from a perfectly good life? Lanuel stammers in fear, apologizing. He smirks. Now this is a better mood for a conversation. A guard in golden armor enters, announcing His Majesty is waiting for Hero Nim. He turns, lips stretching into a wide, eerie grin. "I'm waiting too," he replies coldly. Both Lanuel and the guard freeze, sweating at his unsettling tone. His grin fades into seriousness. Why are they so shocked? He tells them, "Think carefully about this." Pointing at the guard, he asks, "How many heroes exist in the world who can kill the Demon King?" The guard answers correctly, "Only one." Kang Hansu launches into his reasoning with fiery confidence. He's the only hero. He presses harder, warning that without him, the world is doomed. Do Lanuel and the guard get it now? Lounging smugly on the floor, he declares that if the king wants to greet him, the king should come here. He issues an ultimatum. Tell the king not to test his patience and hurry. If they don't like it, they're welcome to go slay the Demon King themselves. The guard stammers that he'll deliver the message, but Hansu snaps,
Then what's he waiting for? His time isn't cheap. As the guard scurries out, Hansu smirks, proud of his brilliant remark that left no room to argue. But suddenly, a mysterious woman's voice echoes, "Please, lower yourself." Hansu freezes, eyes darting around. Where is that voice coming from? The voice recites calmly, "No one bows before a hidden gem." Then another saying, "The ones who raise themselves will be lowered, and those who lower themselves will be raised." A hazy silhouette begins to form, a tall, voluptuous woman outlined in a purple glow. His eyes widen. Something is wrong. Inside, he realizes this doesn't match his memories. Had he ever met a woman like this before, the first time around? He cranes his neck upward at the towering figure. Finally, he demands, "You? Who are you?" The masked woman steps forward, cool and composed, introducing herself as the special instructor. With a sly smile, she explains she was dispatched because the hero scored an F in personality. She vows to put her qualifications on the line to remake him into a proper hero. Hansu's face twists in horror as he screams, "Oh my God!" A bold caption slams across the screen. A moral professor has entered the fantasy world. The instructor explains most heroes who pass the test never even learn she exists. Even failures, she adds, usually just retake the test quietly. She reveals her appearances are so rare they can be counted on one hand. Hansu's eyes widen. He's one of those rare cases. Inside, he curses. This special instructor was sent just to mess with him. The woman plants her hand on her hip, radiating authority. He clenches his jaw, seething. Finally, he bursts out loud, "But why?" He protests, insisting he already killed the Demon King. Hero work done, no matter the method. The instructor's voice slices through the air, calm but sharp. That's the problem. Hansu freezes, staring up at her in total confusion.
The instructor lays it out bluntly. Since he kept repeating his mistakes, he should have tasted bitter defeat against the Demon King. But instead, she points out, he crushed the battle way too easily, standing tall over the fallen Demon Lord. She lifts a finger, lecturing with that classic line, "Failure is the mother of success." Her verdict, because he never failed, he never reflected. That's the root of his problem. Hansu narrows his eyes, connecting the dots. With a smirk, he asks if she's just here to nag him into reflecting. She nods, exactly. Then comes another proverb. She says good people are like water. She explains water helps all, never fights. That's the kind of caring hero she wants him to become for his comrades. With that, she snaps her lecture shut, announcing practical lessons will start tomorrow. Purple energy starts pulling her away. Her last words echo, "Work hard." The moment she leaves, Hansu breaks down, clutching his head in frustration. To him, dealing with comrades is far worse than fighting the Demon King again. From the side, Lenouvel finally steps up, worried. She asks if he's hurt, baffled by his sudden breakdown. Lenouvel, her face filled with concern, warns him that dimensional transfer magic is unstable and untested. She urges him to immediately report any side effects or strange sensations. Kang Hansu stares back with a sullen, tired look. He knows spilling the truth, his breakdown, or the appearance of that special instructor won't fix anything. His thoughts drift back to the masked instructor and the hooded figures from the summoning. He wonders just what kind of teaching staff they really are. In his imagination, a parody scene plays out. He's a student hunched over books while strict professors bark orders at him. "Raise your grades, hero." Back in reality, Hansu folds his arms, trying to grasp the group's true purpose. Their goals are unclear, but they don't seem hostile. After all, they rewound him even after he proved his strength. If they wanted him gone, they could have erased him any time. Decision made, he turns toward Lenouvel. A sly grin spreads across his face. He'll cooperate for now, bide his time, and wait for the right moment to escape or turn the tables. Hansu's eyes fall on Lenouvel. The bitterness he once felt starts to fade. She's just a pawn in a bigger system. Standing tall again, he calmly tells her to lead him to the king. Lenouvel, shocked by his sudden composure, lights up and agrees happily. On the way to the throne room, Hansu sharpens his plan. Step 1, flip the power dynamic. He's no citizen here, so why obey the very people who tore him from his real life? To Hansu, this isn't rebellion, it's fighting for basic human rights. But reality hits. If this world falls, so does his only ticket back to Earth. So he opts for compromise, like a worker-boss deal, instead of bowing to a useless king. The nearby guard stiffens and warns him to mind his words before the throne. An angry pulse mark flashes on the guard's helmet. The guy is boiling inside at Hansu's disrespect. Hansu blinks, realizing he slipped. His inner thoughts must have leaked out. But instead of backing down, Hansu smirks, daring the furious guard to strike. His taunts only grow even as Lenouvel watches in horror. He reminds them he's the one and only hero who can crush the Demon King, so what can they really do to him? Suddenly, a thunderous voice shakes the hall. "Ooh, hero!" He roars his approval. "That's a good spirit." Hansu freezes, eyes wide. That voice, no way. The towering man, aura blazing like wildfire, mistakes King Hansu's taunt as a challenge. With a roar, he bellows, "I'll hit you like you wish," and charges. In a violent flash of red and black, his fist slams squarely into Hansu's chest. The hero is blasted across the room, slamming into the far wall. Reeling from the impact, Hansu stares in shock. Why is this guy here already? Lenouvel's panicked cry cuts through the tension. "Mr. Alex, are you trying to kill the hero?" Alex smirks, arms crossed, basking in his own brutality. The previously fuming guard bursts into laughter, brushing off Alex's blow. "Relax, it's just a courage test. Look, he's still alive." From the rubble, Kang Hansu rises, face twisted into a mask of fury. He definitely did not like that. In his mind, they are savages, kidnapping innocents, mocking their pain, and using brute force as authority. In his past life, where Alex's training was nothing but abuse, he wasn't treated like a hero, he was a dog, beaten and discarded like a toy. His eyes gleam with dark resolve. This time, it will be different. Quietly, almost unseen, his hand slips into his pocket. He grips a simple pen tightly, holding it not as stationary, but as a hidden weapon. Kang Hansu's eyes blaze crimson, an ominous glow flickering in the dim chamber. Inwardly, he frames his intent as if reporting to the special instructor. This is self-defense. Alex, the mighty knight captain, suddenly stiffens. His confident grin falters as he catches the deadly gleam of a pen tip aimed straight at him. With a sharp burst of speed, Hansu lunges. The motion is clumsy compared to his past strength, his weak, untrained body struggling to execute the high-level technique. But he has something Alex cannot see: 10 years of blood-soaked experience. That experience sharpens his strike, guiding it with precision that brute strength alone could never match. Alex's face twists, shock and agony etched across his features as he staggers back. This guy. Hansu calmly withdraws, twirling the pen between his fingers with disdain. His lips curl into a dark smirk. "What a pity, I couldn't turn you into a eunuch." His mind flashes back. His first timeline, the so-called orientation. Alex's version of practical training was nothing but merciless beatings. From day one, the man assigned as his sword instructor had treated him like a chained hound, breaking him under fists and steel. Now, history bends differently. Lenouvel rushes to Alex, her voice trembling with outrage. "Apologize to the hero," she demands, kneeling at his side. But Alex can only clutch his groin, groaning incoherently. With a cruel smile, Alex compliments. "An assassin in such a frail body, capable of this much? This is fun." Our guy got so pissed like a boiling water. Clutching his pain, Alex points a trembling finger at Hansu. Through gritted teeth, he vows that if the hero wins their next fight, he'll kneel and apologize, swearing it on his honor as a knight. Hansu doesn't buy it for a second. In his first timeline, Alex never apologized, not even at the bitter end. With a deadpan stare, he shoots back, "Swearing on your two balls, huh?" The jab sends Alex into a furious rage. Alex storms out of the hall while Han-soo quietly savors this second chance. To him, returning to the past is a divine gift, a chance to unleash 10 years of bottled-up frustration. He knows the truth. His powers are gone, but losing power doesn't mean losing strength. His real weapon has always been experience. Clenching his fist, his anger simmers. He doesn't care about the so-called teaching staff or their lofty schemes. The idea that they could just erase 10 years of blood, sweat, and pain? Unforgivable. Jaw tight, eyes burning, he spits out the word ridiculous. Outside the castle, a guard bows before the king, announcing that the hero has requested an audience.
The heavy doors groan open with a dramatic creak. From behind, Kong Han-soo stands in the doorway of the throne room. At the far end of a long red carpet, up the dais, sits the king, royal guards standing stiffly at his sides. A close-up reveals the king's face, an old man with a puffy white mustache, his expression oddly gentle, even amused. Han-soo scowls, unimpressed. This king bastard. Looking at him again, he's got a dumpling face. A flashback overlays the scene. The same king in his youth, fierce, unbattle-hardened, charging into war clad in armor, sword gleaming in hand. Now, he's nothing more than a dumpling wearing a crown. One of the guards stiffly reminds, "Hero Nim, you are in the presence of His Majesty the King." Han-soo doesn't budge, irritation still plain on his face. A small inset recalls his past life, him bowing low to the floor before this same man. Despite his show of respect back then, it wasn't well received. Back in the present, he squares his shoulders, refusing to kneel. With his knowledge of the future, he sees no reason to curry favor with the Dumpling King. A chilling panel closes the moment. Behind the clueless king looms the shadow of death itself, a skeletal figure draped in darkness. As Han-soo's thoughts resound, the king will be assassinated soon. A masked woman tells Han-soo to lower himself, wishing he'll become a wide and deep ocean. Han-soo clenches his teeth, scoffing inwardly. He decides today's theme will be modesty. A tidal wave looms over a city in his mind's eye. He vows he'll become an ocean and drown them all. Suddenly, he bows low, posture flawless. "I'm Kong Han-soo." He adds politely, thanking the king for his hospitality. The nobles murmur, shocked. His disciplined grace outshines even their own sons. Han-soo reflects on his 10 hard years in this world. He didn't study etiquette by choice. It was survival, learning the culture out of necessity. From his throne, the king beams with satisfaction. He praises La Nouvelle, the blonde girl. Her eyes sparkle as she clasps her hands, blushing. She responds sweetly, saying, "It's an honor." The king then shifts, gesturing toward Han-soo. He asks if the hero can reveal his abilities. Han-soo gets it. The king wants his status. He summons the glowing window, noting it's the same as last time. The screen shines. Arc Human, Level 1, Job Hero. Skills, Interpretation A, Fortitude F, Assassination F. Han-soo studies his reflection in the glassy window. Interpretation A, it was always there, even in the first round. Kong Han-soo notes inwardly that something feels different this time. A tiny, bewildered-looking La Nouvelle perches on his shoulder. He wonders if the new Fortitude and Assassin F-rank skills were granted because of that courage test with Sword King Alex. Han-soo exhales softly. Then his lips curl into a dark, triumphant grin. He clenches his fist, realizing everything, level, skills, has been completely reset. Facing the throne, he declares his status, Hero Level 1. The king leans forward eagerly, demanding specifics about his abilities. He raises 5 fingers for emphasis. With a confident smirk, he unveils his unique trait, a 500% experience bonus. The king jolts upright, eyes wide, roaring in disbelief. 500%! Han-soo coolly watches the court explode in noise, noting it's just as loud as the first time around. A simple cartoon flashes in, showing that no matter his talent, he grows 5 times faster than anyone else. Another sketch shows him chopping wood. 1 hour of his labor equals 5 for a normal person.
Back in the present, Hansu stands with a faint, sly smirk. He thinks to himself, this bonus is nothing less than the cheating specialty of the legendary hero. La Nouvelle gush over Kang Han-soo's 500% experience bonus. He brushes it off with the flat, okay. Calmly, he reminds them he is the chosen hero. The king suddenly interrupts, voice heavy with urgency. A grave crisis looms over the nation, pressing from the border near demon territory. Images of monstrous demons appear with the shadow of the Demon King himself. The king commands the hero to defeat Demon King Pedonar. Hansu's face remains cold. Inside, he scoffs. Why should I bother? What's in it for me? The country should handle its own problems before shoving them onto him. Our guy in his thoughts asking him not to put the blame on demons, then makes a bitter joke at his own expense, calling him Dumpling King who can't even be used for stew. Hansu inhales deeply. Be modest, he reminds himself. I am the ocean. Then, with a measured tone, he asks how much support he will be given. The king falters, flustered and unsettled. What do you mean by support? I summoned you. Hansu snaps. Furthermore, the king that, to save mankind, we gave you our greatest support. What are you trying to do here? In his mind, our guy crackling with blue lightning hovers in the air. Shock! Kang Han-soo's face steady, unshaken. He answers coldly, then I will refuse. His expression twists dark, sinister. He adds, find another hero. The court explodes in chaos. The king bellows, what? Nobles stare wide-eyed, and La Nouvelle gasps, hand over her mouth. Hansu just shrugs. Your country's crisis isn't my problem. The king's forehead veins bulge with fury. He rages that they're treating the hero all wrong. This is when they should be kneeling, begging, not barking orders. Hansu mocks him, tapping his eye, then pointing at the king. Look, Dumpling King, I'm not a citizen of your country. The king's face contorts, purple with rage. A burly nobleman with a thick mustache storms forward, spear raised. Scoundrel, how dare you to His Majesty! Before he can finish, a brutal pen strike lands with a thunderous crack. The noble collapses, twisted in pain and shock, crashing to the ground. Hansu jabs a finger forward, fresh off striking the noble. Tiny La Nouvelle freaks out behind him. He stares at his hand, annoyed. He couldn't pierce the guy like before. Maybe he should have aimed for the eye socket instead. The royal guards snap into action, spears leveled in a tight wall of defense. Hansu turns, sticking his tongue out like a brat, mocking their stance. Kill me if you can, he taunts. One guard blurts out, he's insane! Hansu strolls off casually, tossing out, if the king dies, the prince can just replace him. He keeps going. If the prince dies, the princess takes over. No princess? Then some random relative will do. A guard blocks his path, spear raised. The tip presses against Hansu's neck. He doesn't flinch. If the hero dies, who replaces him? His face twists into a wide, vicious grin. He glares straight at the king. How do you plan to cut the Demon King's throat without me? The king seethes, grinding his teeth, torn between rage and restraint. The king's face trembling with pure frustration.
Hansu glares down at the tiny king on his throne, scoffing to himself. No reason to treat these savages with modesty. In his head, he compares them to pigs. Leave them alone, they'll crawl right back. Dragged like a dog to the hunting field and expected to hunt on his own? What a joke. Hansu's scowling face as he growls, this is their so-called greatest support? He laughs bitterly, thinking even the Demon King was more considerate. A small cut shows the Demon King, awkwardly embarrassed. Flashback. Hansu takes down one of the Demon King's subordinates. Reward in hand, smiling as he's given shiny new armor. The Demon King always paid up. Sometimes the Demon King gave so much, it felt like a burden. Hansu snaps, realizing how could he even be called a hero after miscalculating this badly? Screaming while coins, a calculator, and an abacus fly everywhere. Back in the present, he eyes a knight behind him. These guys couldn't kill him, and even if by some slim chance they did, still not his problem. He smirks, thinking the fate of this fantasy world means nothing to him if he dies, though he admits no guarantee he'll revive this time. On his eyes glowing with purple light, locked in with cold resolve, he leans in, grin wicked. "Well, Dumpling King, got anything to say?" The king's hands shake as he stammers out his reason. He summoned the hero to protect the kingdom. Lenouvel watches with wide, innocent eyes while the king explains he bought magic catalysts from merchants and nobles. He finishes saying he ordered Lenouvel to summon the hero. Hansu snaps back, dripping with contempt. "So what?" The king's face twists in fury, roaring that the hero belongs to his kingdom. His mouth wide open, spit flying as he screams, making our guy irritate. Hansu stands calm and cold, replying, "A fisherman might own the fish he catches, but I'm a hero, not a fish." He scoffs inside, finding the very idea of being their possession laughable. Eyes wild, grin unhinged, he dares the king to announce that claim to the entire world. His grin sharpens, promising that they'll see what happens to the kingdom if the king tries that. The king freezes, sweat dripping, eyes wide at the threat. Off to the side, a woman with purple eyes and dark horned-like hair watches, worried and slightly surprised. The nobles and ministers murmur uneasily, their faces drawn tight with worry. One minister fans himself, drenched in sweat. Hansu raises a single finger with a sharp snap.
He declares boldly that he'll simply go to a nation that treats its hero with respect. He mocks them, saying it's pointless to try stopping or imprisoning him because he wouldn't even twitch a finger to resist. His voice hardens, warning that once the world learns they oppressed the hero, humanity's last hope, their kingdom will crumble. A shattered royal crest fills the scene. Eyes glowing red, a demonic laugh spilling out, he adds that everyone who backed this foolish king will share that fate. The knights and courtiers quiver, fear plain on their faces. The king slumps, sighing in bitter defeat. Beaten, the king lowers himself further, asking what support the hero desires. Hansu's grin stretches wide, triumphant and sinister. Hansu rattles off his demands without hesitation. Top quality provisions, a military map, diplomatic immunity, then leans in and whispers, "Room service," leaving Lenouvel blinking in confusion. With a snap of his fingers and a cheerful grin, he drives the point home. The king, now a sagging blob of defeat, can't even respond. Striking a dramatic pose, Hansu adds, "And also, Your Majesty." The king, utterly rattled, stammers, "If there's more?" Hansu flashes an okay gesture, brightly demanding, "Show me the money!" Gold coins rain from above as he winks, while the king remains frozen in shock. Inwardly, Hansu muses that replaying a game he's already cleared is dull, illustrated by a chibi version of himself smiling. So he decides to use the cheat key and walk the flowery road. Elsewhere, in a shadowy space, a woman in a crimson dress sighs into her hand, groaning that she hadn't expected another mess within a single day. Her words echo over Hansu lounging irritably on a bed as a hand reaches toward him. She cautions that once the king starts funding him, endless demands will follow, that the hero's bag will rot because of greed. The woman in red looks at Kong Hansu and tells him that a bad compromise is better than a good lawsuit, chiding him for being too harsh. She continues, advising that even if she's certain she can win, she must sometimes learn to accept a loss. Hansu listens, frowning in confusion. She explains that she would have stepped in earlier, but waves of other students kept her occupied. The plural word makes Hansu's brow twitch. She explains further over a golden wheat field, saying the mill's owner foolishly believes the wheat grows solely for him. Then she delivers the revelation. He is not the only hero candidate. Many students have already graduated before him.
Hansu's face freezes in shock. She goes on, telling him that those who completed the journey returned to Earth and now live ordinary, happy lives. Her lecture ends with a simple, sharp piece of advice: try harder. Back in the present, Hansu mutters to himself, asking if he is the mill owner, if he truly wasn't the only one summoned. Realizing this might be a system that exploits Earth's youth, dragging them into fantasy worlds. His horrified thoughts conclude with a vision of Earth itself as farmland, students raised like crops, trained in endless practice rooms. Hansu sprawls across an oversized red bed, grumbling inwardly about the ridiculous scale of this educational facility made for just one person. The absurdity feels too much to take seriously until Lenouvel's soft voice cuts in, asking if something is troubling her. She leans over, radiant and sparkling, her face full of concern. From his perspective, her sudden closeness looms over him. Flustered, he jerks back at the unexpected sight. With a comical yell, he swings a pillow at her, making Lenouvel flinch and squeak out an apology. Hansu notes privately that she's been glued to his side since yesterday, only leaving when he sleeps. In another thought, he admits his old self might have been thrilled, but dealing with Professor Morals was already exhausting. Now, bigger worries press on him. He suddenly asks Lenouvel if she's certain he's the only hero summoned here. Startled, she confirms that he is. A flashback shows a towering demon king as Hansu recalls Professor telling him that countless heroes journeyed to defeat it. In this world, he realizes, he is the sole hero. Back in the present, his eyes widen as the thought of parallel worlds hits him. The hero envisions countless parallel fantasy worlds, each student dropped into their own stage. In his mind, he likens it to an offline RPG, the kind designed for solo play, each toward a different world. But even that thought feels tame compared to the sheer absurdity of this setup. Grabbing his head, he staggers in frustration, while the Lenouvel tilts her head, utterly baffled by his behavior. Forcing his panic down, he makes a decision. He'll stall for time and focus on the fastest route back to Earth. He refuses to accept the sugar-coated claim that every graduate returned to happy lives. Logically, if other students have managed to graduate and return home, then there's no reason he can't do the same. He whirls on Lenouvel, barking at her to come with him. Startled, she asks where he's planning to go. Hansu's face darkens, a grin spreading wide in the shadows. After all his chaos, he's finally managed to wring some real support out of this kingdom.
The king raises a finger from his throne and tells the hero there's a catch. Before he opens the treasury for support, one condition must be met. Lanuel's eyes go wide when the king announces she'll be the one controlling all of the hero's funds. Off to the side, RMC thinks to himself that this is smart, and honestly, he would have done the same. The story shifts outside to a lively medieval street with the castle towering in the background. Lanuel suddenly spots a glowing orb in a shop window, calling out, "Hero Nim! Hero Nim!" She begs the hero to let her buy it. She gushes about how she's always wanted one, while RMC groans internally, realizing she's the worst choice to handle the money. The hero glances at the ridiculous price, shrugs, and says buy it. Lanuel jumps with joy, thanking him, while the hero walks away smirking that it doesn't matter, it's not his money. Inside the market, weapons and magical artifacts shine on display. The narrator explains this is the kingdom's hub of trade, where the finest goods gather. But adds a warning, because of steep street taxes, everything here costs a fortune, with magic gear at the very top. The scene compares magic items to Earth's tech, drones, cameras, laptops, all sold at sky-high prices. Lanuel races back holding the orb like treasure, proudly shouting that she bought it. She lifts the glowing sphere to her face, admiring it with pure delight. The hero just clicks his tongue as whispers and gossip spread about him in the background. Now out of his school uniform, he tells Lanuel to hurry and follow him. In his thoughts, he recalls how during his first run, wearing a school uniform only made him stand out like a fool. Never again that will happen in this retest. With that, he pauses in front of a clothing shop, eyeing a flashy outfit displayed in the window. Elsewhere, Lanuel stares in shock, eyes wide. She blurts out in disbelief at the hero's new look. He now stands in a flamboyant blue and red suit topped with a massive feathered hat, thinking smugly that it looks good. Lanuel can only gape while he confidently brushes her off. No need for fake compliments. He knows it's pure fashion terror. With a grin, he explains his over-the-top look has one purpose only: stress-free shopping. Passers-by eye the hero's flashy clothes, whispering that he must be from some powerful noble family. Inside, the hero smirks, just as he thought. Nobody dares pick a fight with someone dressed like this. Lanuel pipes up, asking where they're going. She points out they skip the famous blacksmiths and even the medicinal herb shops. She tilts her head, wondering if this is his first time in the city. The hero's lips curl into a dark grin as he reveals their destination: the black market. Lanuel's jaw drops. She yells, "What?" shocked that the supposedly righteous hero Nims headed to an illegal auction. The hero casually asks if that glowing orb she just bought isn't illegal too. Her eyes widen as he points out she bought it purely for selfish reasons. His grin sharpens, reminding her that he was the one who let her buy it in the first place, which means they're both in this together, accomplices. Lanuel trembles, sweating with guilt, her face twisting in panic. Then, like flipping a switch, she smiles sweetly and rationalizes that the black market is fine as long as it's for world peace. She even compares it to using poison in medicine. But our MC, being the MC, cuts her off, telling her to just follow quietly if she gets it. Two guards stand watch at a curtain entrance while the narration explains the market's location constantly changes, making it nearly impossible to track. The hero thinks to himself, it would be suspicious if a newly summoned hero somehow knew more about this place than a local. Lanuel tilts her head in confusion, MC asking, "Who am I?" She answers flatly, "The chosen hero Nim." He pushes further. Would a hero really be a hero if he were just ordinary? A grand battle flashes in his mind. If raw power alone could topple the Demon King, then long-lived beings like fairies or dragons would have done it ages ago. "Listen well," he says firmly. His eyes burn with conviction as he declares the true worth of a hero isn't in abilities at all. Lanuel gazes up at him in awe, whispering, "Amazing." She beams, assuring him she understands, but he cuts her down instantly. "Shut up and just follow." Inside, he admits the truth. Just like she said, even he has no clue where the black market actually is. The hero lays out his plan in his head. If they want to find the black market, the best place to start is a pub where he used to be a regular. He and Lanuel soon stand before a massive stone pub building, its presence heavy and intimidating. Inside, Lanuel looks around with wide eyes, curiosity written all over her face. The pub is alive with noise. Men arm wrestle at the tables, others cheer loudly, and a waitress hustles by with drinks. At the bar, an old man orders one glass of beer, then quickly changes it to two. In the corner, a cowboy hat-wearing man casually strums a small stringed instrument, adding to the chaotic atmosphere. The hero smiles faintly, comforted that nothing has changed. Then he remembers. It makes sense. He's rewound time, so of course it looks familiar. He calls out, "Tony!" And immediately the bartender stiffens. Tony's expression shifts for a split second, recognition flashing across his face. The hero boldly declares he knows Tony very well. He even reveals Tony's secret, a retired assassin now running a pub with a signature technique only someone close would know. A memory surfaces. Tony wasn't just a bartender in his first run. He was a good friend, even a teacher, who showed him how to survive this brutal world. But the hero shakes it off. He's not here to relive the past, especially with Lanuel hovering like dead weight. The hero wonders quietly if their old coded language will still work in this timeline. He tests it, asking Tony, "Did good liquor arrive today?" Tony, polishing a glass, replies smoothly, he can provide it if the hero is willing to pay the price. The hero grins. "Good." Tony nods, saying the hero is lucky today. From under the counter, Tony rolls out a massive barrel and a goblet, announcing he's got 27-year-old stout black dragon, perfect with grilled sheep meat. The hero instantly understands. Black dragon is the signal. The black market is opening today. In his head, he recalls the code. The liquor's name marks the location, and the way it's poured gives directions. Tony leans in, asking if the hero has doubts, offering to bring out another bottle if needed. He stands ready, hand resting on the barrel tap. The hero presses further, asking about the quality of the mutton. Tony assures him, confidently, it's worth looking forward to. RMC's thoughts turn cold. Grilled mutton is code for the black market's main trade, something outlawed across the kingdom. The image turns grim, rows of slaves, bound in chains, revealed as the true meaning of the code. RMC, with a sharp grin spreads across his face, gives his order without hesitation. Keep it as is, mutton for 2. Meanwhile, poor Lanuel is completely lost, a tiny cartoon sheep perched on her head as she stares with question marks swirling around her.
The pub's stone walls stand tall against the bright sky, but the hero isn't stopping to admire it. He yanks La Nouvelle along, shouting for her to hurry. She stumbles behind, flustered, asking why he's in such a rush. His face twists in rage as he bellows, "You're asking me why?" He snaps that they only had time to eat because they'd already reserved their auction seats. Then he roasts her for whining about greasy mutton and stalling them by ordering everything else. Trying to change the subject, La Nouvelle blurts out, asking how he knows Tony, the bartender. The hero's thoughts soften. To most, Tony looks like an average bartender. But to his younger, naive self, Tony was the cool friend who taught him how to survive. He even wonders if, without this whole hero business, he and Tony could have gone into business together. His mind shifts. Heroes carry a secret ability besides the famous EXP boost, one that must never reach the king's ears. Since arriving in this world, he hasn't been able to see his own stats, but he can see everyone else's. The skill acts like a safeguard, stopping clueless newbies from picking fights that can't win and ending up dead like dogs. He's relieved to confirm this power still works in his second round. He casually tells La Nouvelle it's only natural for a hero. Her eyes sparkle as she asks if that means he can even see her level. He replies flatly, "It's obvious." A glowing status window appears. La Nouvelle, level 200, human scholar. Status? Interested. The hero calculates coldly. At that level, she couldn't even beat the weakest of the Demon King's soldiers. Still, he notes she has unusually high potential. La Nouvelle notices him suddenly go quiet, tilting her head in confusion. Inwardly, he admits that remembering her future from the first round makes her potential terrifying. She snaps him out of his thoughts, pestering why he's gone silent. He brushes her off, saying it's nothing, and urges her to move faster. As they slip into a shadowy alley, she starts to say, "Hero Nim, tell me," but before she can finish, a thug in a bandana lunges from the darkness, knife flashing. He seizes La Nouvelle, pressing the blade against the bag holding her precious orb. She shrieks in terror, letting out a panicked "ah" as the ambush strikes. The thief lunges, shoving La Nouvelle aside as her precious orb slips free. It tumbles through the air, glowing faintly as it falls. The orb bounces off the tip of La Nouvelle's shoe, spinning back into motion.
In a blur, the hero grapes it with pinpoint precision.
The thief's eyes snap wide in shock, head whipping around. The orb slams into his lower back with brutal force. He lets out a sharp cry, "Gah!" He crashes to the cobblestones, groaning, while the orb rolls away unharmed. The hero strolls over, scooping it up casually. He explains it struck right between the 4th and 5th lumbar vertebrae. Standing over the thief, the hero lectures like a doctor. Untreated, this kind of injury guarantees chronic waist pain. Behind him, La Nouvelle wails for her orb. He adds flatly that the man's daily life will now suffer from leg numbness. Tossing the orb in his hand, the hero remarks coldly, "You have quite a resolve." A status window flickers above the thief. Level 8, human thief. Status, nervous. The hero thinks to himself that when he was summoned again, his physical strength came back too, but he knows throwing objects can only go so far, it's limited. He measures the gap between them. Only 7 levels, practically nothing. Knife clamped between his teeth, the thief glares upward, rage burning in his eyes.
The hero recalls the past, when he was just a scared student running from lunatics. Things are different now. He taunts the thief, sneering as the man abandons the bag of money to flee. But the thief snaps, eyes glowing, screaming, Don't look down on me!" The hero grins internally. This is exactly, his hand touches the brim of his hat, the experience of the last 10 years. He flicks it forward, brushing the tip against the thief's nose. The thief recoils in agony, shouting, My eyes!" While he's distracted, the hero's eyes gleam as he winds up his fist. The punch lands square across the thief's face, bursting with light and impact. The dazed man groans, barely conscious, as the hero calmly explains, this time the hit was right between the 6th and 7th lumbar vertebrae. The hero explains in his head that the spot he hit is the same area where students and office workers often get herniated cervical discs from sitting too long. The thief lies sprawled unconscious, and the hero keeps analyzing. Without treatment, he'll end up with numb arms and a stiff neck. Coldly, he thinks the man won't be able to recover anyway. This is his punishment for daring to cross him. City guards rush onto the scene, and the hero narrates that he calmly explained everything to them. Turning to La Nouvelle, he warns that his identity as the hero must stay hidden. He knows rumors will spread soon enough, so keeping his identity covered will make moving around much easier. But La Nouvelle peers at him and blurts out, "Anyway, Hero Nim seems to be experienced with killing." The hero instantly flips out in a comical, squiggly fit of frustration. Inside, he screams, "People! Don't treat people like murderers!" Startled, La Nouvelle apologizes in a panic. A flashback shows a cloaked version of him standing over slain goblins. He admits that after 10 years of rough work, killing any enemy without hesitation just became second nature. Back in the present, he calls out to La Nouvelle. She perks up. Yes? He asks if she knows the average level of an adult man. He explains most sit around level 3, and an armed farmer would barely hit level 5. The panel cuts to the thief's limp body. The hero reveals this thief was level 8. He studies the stats again and notes he's not a former hunter or soldier. La Nouvelle suddenly shouts, "I see!" With sparkly eyes, she gushes that the thief must have killed countless civilians to reach such a high level. She piles on the praise, saying he stopped him before he could harm another innocent. The hero, baffled, just thinks, "What?" She pushes further, proclaiming that his heart protects the peace of the kingdom even before facing the Demon King. Finally, she dramatically declares this was the first splendid accomplishment of Hero Nim, while the hero grumbles internally about her noise. As they walk off, La Nouvelle asks if his level went up. He decides to check, remembering his special 5x EXP bonus. A glowing status window pops up. Level 4, Arch-Human Hero. La Nouvelle explains that all creatures carry power, and some naturally grow stronger as they age, but most, she adds, only increase their strength by stealing or consuming it. The hero wonders if level 4 here is like being a pro athlete back on Earth. He smirks, thinking how classic it is that strength rises by killing more in this world. His conclusion, this thief's higher level came from stealing from others. He clenches his hand, a sharp grin, he thinks. Satisfied with the experience points gained, I have a great feeling from the first hunt. As they enter a doorway, he orders La Nouvelle to take good care of the money bag. She salutes with a cheerful, "Yes!" Immediately he snaps at her, not to act cute or she'll get hit, making her whimper in fear. An ominous elf with glowing eyes lurks in the shadows.
The alley is bleak, laundry sways above, crows caw, and our MC and La Nouvelle tread carefully. The hero peeks around the corner, eyes sharp and alert. A hulking bald man suddenly blocks their path. "Are you Tony's customer?" he asks. The hero doesn't flinch. Not his customer, but his arch-enemy. The man smirks at the coded response, then turns. "Please follow me." He guides them through a grimy passage, and the narration explains, this is the dark commerce, a shadowy black market with near paranoid security. The hero thinks back. He never uncovered their full identity in his first playthrough, but luckily, the old password still works. The guide halts at a plain door. It's here, inside. The door opens to reveal what looks like the exterior of a large, ordinary house. Lanovel asks, "It looks like a general's house," but the hero hushes her, telling her to watch the ground. Beneath their feet, an intricate magic circle is carved into the stone. The hero identifies it as a spatial transfer circle, noting the materials alone must have cost a fortune. When Lanovel admits she thought the black market would be inside the capital, the hero muses at how thorough its organizers are. He teases her, calling her a country bumpkin for being so easily amazed. She mutters back that he's the weird one. The guide cuts in, offering masks. "Customer, please wear this." The hero slips on a fierce white wolf mask, covering the upper half of his face. Lanovel dons a golden rabbit mask, clearly embarrassed by the flashy look. The hero, meanwhile, thinks he has no choice. Unlike others, he can't risk walking here unmasked as the future hero. Then, our MC urges the guide to move quickly. With a snap of his fingers, the magic circle flares to life. Brilliant orange light engulfs them, teleportation kicking in. A blinding flash, and they're gone. Darkness. Thick, heavy, suffocating. A voice in the void notes the underground gloom. The hero warns softly not to carelessly spark light. His and Lanovel's eyes just barely visible in the black. The shadows ease open to reveal masked figures all around them. The hero's thoughts sharpen. He won't make the mistake of provoking the hidden guards watching from the darkness. The hero recalls in his thoughts, this black market wasn't always like this. Once, it was a cult's ritual ground where a devil was summoned. A flashback of the eerie cult ceremony flickers, hooded figures chanting, a towering demonic silhouette rising. The hero notes that he visited this very place several times in his first round. Back in the present, a masked guide holding a glowing purple lantern steps forward, welcoming them formally. "It is an honor to have you here." The guide informs them the auction will begin shortly and promises to lead them to their seats after a brief explanation. He explains that to place a bid, they simply need to tap the bell in front of their seat. Next, he clarifies, payment must be made in advance, using coins or jewels. Then his tone hardens. He warns that the market will take no responsibility if a guest removes their mask or reveals their identity. The hero turns toward a visibly trembling Lanovel. "Miss Extra, you heard the explanation from the guide, right?" Flustered, Lanovel starts to blurt, "I'm not an extra, I'm Lan," before the hero clamps a hand firmly over her mouth. "Keep it shut," he orders coldly. Inside, he identifies her. Archaeologist Lanovel appears in his mind's eye, roses blooming around her. She is famed as the beauty of the middle continent of Fantasia. The hero grimaces inwardly. What was she thinking, nearly revealing her name here of all places? The guide gestures for them to follow, and they walk deeper in. The hero leans close to Lanovel, voice low and serious. "Never cause trouble here." As he speaks, a glowing red magic circle blooms under Lanovel's feet. He finishes grimly, "If you don't wish to be buried alive." She gasps, staring down at the circle in shock. Lanovel yelps, "The whole place is covered in explosion magic circles?" The hero muses dryly that the warning has a very literal meaning of not to cause trouble, or else they would be buried 5 floors underground. Suddenly, a bright glow spills down from above. The light reveals an immense, circular underground auction hall. Masked attendees sit in rows, their eyes fixed on the grand stage. The hero and Lanovel are led to a private viewing box. The guide bows slightly. "May your time be profitable." On stage, the auctioneer raises his arms and declares the auction open. The first item is announced, a survivor from the demon territory. Chains rattle as a massive, scarred warrior is dragged into the light. His towering figure radiates raw power. The auctioneer gestures dramatically at the warrior's body, scarred from countless battles. A close-up lingers on the man's torso. Thick chains bite against muscle and wounds. This man was on the verge of death after slaying a powerful demon. The auctioneer spins the tale further. He was found, treated, and now he offers himself in servitude to repay his debt. The hero scoffs in his head. Veteran warrior, my ass. A status window pops up over the chained fighter. Level 11. Skills, trash tier. Status, anxious. No matter how the auctioneer hypes him up, it's a scam. What idiot would waste money on this guy? And then, he's already hammering the bidding bell like a madman. He even grabs the mallet to smack it harder, ringing out over the hall. Watching the other bidders, he thinks, damn, everyone here must be loaded, while Lanavel practically sparkles beside him. She gasps, calling his move brilliant, buying the slave to recruit him as a comrade, saying he thinks just like the ancient heroes. The hero freezes, completely thrown off by her words. His mind flashes back to his first playthrough, young him desperately bidding on a slave. He recalls how he thought he was saving someone, but all he got was trouble. A furious elf girl screams at him in the memory, pointing her hand while the rookie hero cowers. He groans inside. If I'd known she was a human-hating headache, I never would have bid at all. Back in the present, Lanavel sighs that the warrior's been sold. What a waste. He looked strong. The hero shrugs it off. Nothing to pity. His tone hardens. The real auction starts now. He lays out the strategy. Blow all your money early, and you'll miss the items that actually matter later. On stage, the auctioneer unveils the next lot. A young girl with flawless, pale skin, daughter of a noble family, captured by demons. Lanavel leans toward our MC in their private box. Hieronym, this lady, but our MC cuts off. We're not here to play heroes, and we're definitely not here to save nobles. But the hero's mind drifts again, back to that elf. He remembers her storming the auction with her sword raised, screaming for all the slaves to be freed. And he shudders, recalling the absolute chaos of cleaning up her mess afterwards. Lanavel just tilts her head in confusion. The auctioneer claps his hands, announcing the next item. Chains clink as another figure steps onto the stage. The hero's eyes widen. What? Then his shock turns to pure excitement, his grin stretching wide. Amazing! It came up!
A new slave is dragged onto the stage, chains rattling as a single spotlight exposes his skeletal frame. His face comes into view, sunken cheeks, lifeless eyes. The hero notes the emptiness in his gaze. His body is all bones and skin, wasted away by malnutrition. But behind the mask, the hero's eyes sharpen. He says, I can see his true worth. A status window pops up. Level 286, human mercenary. Status, hungry, weakened. The hero doesn't care about skills. That insane level is all that matters. The auctioneer smooths her over, claiming the man simply refuses to eat. He brags about the slave's legendary spearmanship, but the crowd isn't buying it. The hero thinks it makes sense. No one wants the headache of dealing with a suicidal slave. But his grin spreads wide. He says, I'm the opposite. This is the perfect slave I wanted. He suddenly orders La Nouvelle to bid. She stutters, startled, but then frantically hammers the bell. The auctioneer begins the countdown. 3, 2, 1. The hero leans back smugly as the gavel falls. The wolf-masked customer scores a splendid product at a dirt-cheap price. Later, La Nouvelle blurts out in shock, did he see that mercenary's level? The hero casually confirms, level 286. La Nouvelle gasps, saying he's on par with Mr. Alex. The hero scoffs inwardly, thinking that just make the future Sword King sad. A memory of the fierce warrior Alex flashes in his mind. He explains to himself the truth. This mercenary isn't special. He just wandered endlessly, slaughtering countless beings to climb so high. Still, the hero admits, even getting that far isn't easy.
An attendant approaches, setting down a key and contract. The hero waves him off. Soon, the chained mercenary kneels before the hero, who watches calmly from his seat. Lennovel whispers if they're heading back now. The hero smirks. Shopping's just beginning. He picks up the mallet once again. The spotlight shifts, revealing the next item, this time a small, shackled girl. Lanovel clutches her stomach, groaning that she feels sick. The hero brushes her off, telling her to endure it just a little longer. In his head, he admits he doesn't plan on staying much longer either. The auction's about to shift into plain goods now that the competition's cooling down. His eyes flick to the mercenary slave they picked up earlier, grim, silent, and bound. One strong piece was already enough for today. Time to leave quietly. But then the spotlight hits. The hero's eyes widen. A slender elf steps into the spotlight, golden hair cascading over her shoulders, her hands shackled in heavy chains. The auctioneer's voice rises with pride, an elf from the famous forest of the southern continent. Her mind may be broken, he says, but her appearance and pedigree are flawless. And then he drops the word that makes the room shift. She's pure. The masked crowd leans forward, greedy eyes fixed on her, as the auctioneer hypes this as a once-in-a-lifetime chance. The hero swallows hard, a single word echoing in his mind. Elf. Elves, the so-called superior race, the heart of all human desires. To him, it wouldn't feel like a true fantasy world without them. A bidder slams his table, furiously ringing the bell, shouting that he'll buy her no matter the cost. The crowd rants about not missing the chance to claim an untouched noble elf. The hero facepalms. To him, these bidders are deluded fools, because elves aren't noble. His thoughts cut deeper. Elves live long, but with low fertility and almost no sexual desire. They're far from the fantasy humans imagine. Landuvel jumps in, adding history. Elves once lost a territorial war against humans and retreated deep into the forest, saying she heard they'd been reduced to prey. But then her tone shifts. She points to the stage in alarm. Hieronym, this elf, is weird. The hero doesn't even flinch. So you finally noticed, he replies, and then asks why her nausea suddenly disappeared. Lanovel stammers, caught off guard. The hero thinks to himself, she's an excellent magician. Of course she felt it too. This elf is special. A glowing status window appears, level 851. But her condition is brutal, cursed, sealed, poisoned, exhausted, anesthetized. The hero tightens his grip on the bidding mallet, eyes locked on the stage. There's no reason to hesitate, he thinks. If I don't buy her now, it's my loss. He ignores the elf's fragile appearance. Her level, 851, is monstrous. That's demon territory. Add her superior race and stacked skills, and she easily ranks mid to high tier. A menacing demon flashes across his mind as the perfect comparison. His conclusion? This elf is on par with the Demon King's own pet. Her curse reeks of demonic tampering, a mental shackle. The rest, poison, exhaustion, anesthetis. Just the dark commerce making sure she can't resist. The auctioneer cackles like a madman, but the hero's already made his mind. He slams the bidding bell without hesitation. The room murmurs. A bidder scoffs, saying, a warrior's more useful than a broken elf, even if she's pretty. The hero smirks under his mask. None of them realize her true level. That means he'll snatch her up cheap. Seeing no more offers, the auctioneer lifts his hand and starts the countdown. 3, 2. But before he can finish, boom! A massive explosion rocks the hall, blasting the auctioneer backward. The hero and Lanovel whip their heads toward the chaos. The entrance is blown apart, bidders screaming in panic. A staff member shouts that it's no natural phenomenon, demanding to know what the guards are doing. The hero's eyes sharpen. If even the hidden guards were useless, this isn't a raid, it's an invasion. A chibi panic Landuvel clings to him, wailing about the tunnel collapsing and them getting buried alive. He stays calm, telling her not to panic, just watch. The floor cracks open with a surge of green energy. The ceiling bursts, rubble falling as something emerges.
A small rock creature with glowing green eyes claws out of the debris. Then more. Dozens of earth elementals flood the hall. The hero's inner voice cuts in. Handling elementals like these means only one enemy. From the hole above, warriors drop down, blades flashing. Elves. Auction staff scream in terror as the intruders cut down guards with precision. At the front, a blonde elf in armor smirks, mocking the stupid noble who made their break-in so easy. She raises her sword high, eyes blazing. Her order is clear. Let's save our brethren.
The hall erupts as elf archers unleash a rain of arrows, cutting down guards left and right. Dark commerce soldiers scramble, shouting to protect the customers as steel and daggers rip through their ranks. More guards charge in, their leader barking orders. Capture the elves if possible, but if not, kill them and keep the bodies clean. At the center of it all, a regal elf with a circlet steps forward, her voice commanding. She calls upon the power of the elements. Her eyes glow with fierce blue light as she raises her blade high. With a single swing, she unleashes a tidal wave of ice magic. Guards are blasted off their feet, some frozen solid where they stand. Watching from the balcony, the hero clenches his fist, recognizing her instantly. So royalty decided to show up at this shabby market. A status window pops. Elf Queen Sylvia, level 284, Arch-Elf Shaman. The hero's mind races. Right now, she's only a princess, but in the future, after a bloody coup, she's destined to rule. He recalls how she gave up adventuring to inherit the throne. A flashback hits. Sylvia, furious, pointing at his younger self. She wasn't just anyone. She was once a member of his party. But he also remembers her flaw, risking everything just to save a few of her own kind, even if it drove the whole party into danger. In this timeline, though, she hasn't joined him yet. That's why her level is lower. Sylvia conjures a fiery dagger, her natural talent shining through. Even now, her skill ranks are terrifyingly high. She screams out, engulfed in blazing elemental fire. The explosion incinerates guards in an instant, their screams echoing through the hall. The hero watches with cool detachment. Elemental S, truly devilish. Amid the chaos, a dark commerce staffer rushes to his side, bowing deeply and begging the wolf-masked customer to evacuate. The hero can't help but smirk. Even in disaster, their professionalism is unshaken. Beside him, Lanuvel trembles with wide, sparkling eyes. "Shouldn't we help them? Shouldn't we save people?" she pleads. Her fists are clenched, her expression burning with righteous determination. The hero sighs, recognizing that look all too well. She isn't thinking about survival. She wants to side with the elves and strike back at the black market. The hero points to the exit, telling Lanuvel to head to the evacuation shelter and wait. She stares back, confused. Why? He snaps at her, furious. "Assist them in the rescue, you say? Are you stupid?" Lanuvel doesn't back down. She gestures at the mercenary slave they just bought. "What about him? Should we just let him die?" The hero facepalms in despair. "Oh my God." But Lanuvel keeps pressing, insisting that abandoning a new comrade isn't how a hero should live. Meanwhile, every other customer has already fled. They're the only ones left behind. The scene turns grim. Slaves in chains lie dead on the floor, unable to escape the chaos. Finally, the hero declares he'll take care of things himself. He tells Lanuvel to guard their new comrade in the shelter. Her job is to protect him well. Reluctantly, Lanuvel agrees and pulls the mercenary with her. The hero turns back to the chaos. "Host," he shouts. The auctioneer looks up, startled. "Why haven't you escaped yet?" the man asks. But the hero cuts him off. He's here for answers. He demands to know if the elf belongs to the auctioneer. He nods, the shackled elf standing behind him. Payment rules aside, he explains, the elf is already the hero's property. He suggests they retreat to the shelter together, reassuring him that the anesthetized elf won't resist. The hero smirks beneath his mask. Internally, he sizes up the auctioneer. Clever. He's figured out the elves are here for this very prisoner. A flash of battle shows an elf warrior skewering a guard. The hero knows the auctioneer is just trying to dump the problem on him. Still, he can't help but give credit where it's due. "You're capable," he says. "You praise me too much," the auctioneer replies with a sly grin, pulling out a pair of daggers. With a sharp flourish, he declares it's time to focus on his other duties. Then, in a blur of motion, he carves through an invading elf, blood spraying across the floor. The hero watches in silence as the host slaughters more enemies with frightening ease. For a man who seemed so refined on stage, his true power is undeniable. Meanwhile, more black market guards flood the hall, rallying now that the customers are safe. The hero leans back, calm and collected. "I'm starting to see how this will all end." The hero's monologue lays it bare. He knows the future. Here, in this very chaos, the elf queen Sylvia will be captured and reduced to a slave. And he reasons it out coldly. Her price will plummet, the earnings will be shared with the dead guards' families, and she won't face punishment for her revenge. In his eyes, this is a good development. On stage, he steps closer to the captured elf. "Hello, Miss Elf." He tilts her chin up with his hand. She looks at him with exhausted, hollow eyes. He doesn't sugarcoat it. Sylvia will surrender if she stays alive. Does she understand what that means? His grip tightens. The elf lowers her gaze, whispering in thought, "Yes, that child is soft." Her memory flickers. A flashback. Dark commerce once held her hostage, forcing Sylvia to yield. Another scene. By the campfire, she confessed to the young hero that she always surrendered when her people were threatened. But back in the present, her eyes harden. She raises her trembling finger, pointing to her own neck. The hero's eyes widen. She's resolved to sacrifice herself. He seizes her shoulders, then shocks everyone. He kisses her. Our MC is going wild. Down on the battlefield, Sylvia freezes, staring in disbelief. Through that kiss, memories flow. The elf's heart passes to him. He sees a younger Sylvia begging her not to surrender for her sake. The elf's thought echoes, "I don't want Sylvia to live the miserable life of a slave." Another memory, a fleeting smile, a child, a wish for Sylvia's happiness. In the present, a tear slides down her cheek as she mouths, "Thank you." The hero pulls back, calm. "Don't mention it." From below, Sylvia screams in horror, "Master!" The hero's eye glows with a cruel light, his thought cut sharp. "I could enjoy it too because of you." And with one swift motion, snap. The elf's neck breaks. Her body collapses lifeless to the stage. Sylvia's face contorts in raw horror. The hero coldly notes it was easy, thanks to the devil's curse binding her. Then, ding! A status window appears. His level surges from 4 to 165 in an instant. He clutches his head, laughter echoing through the hall. "Ha! This system is really messed up."
Red aura bursts around the hero, his body trembling with power. Killing that level 851 elf just boosted him to heights that should have taken a year. He reflects on the system itself. A brutal world where anyone can rise to power by killing someone stronger. No need for noble bloodlines or natural talent, just raw struggle and luck. Proof that effort is still the price. This world is open to everyone, but only if they can survive it. The hero grins wide, eyes gleaming. To him, this is a beautiful fantasy world. Dreams, hope, and glory. But only if he's the one who wins. On the ruined stage, the auctioneer confronts him in disbelief. "How could you?" The hero simply answers, he'll pay the proper price. To him, there's no problem. In his mind, the truth is clear. Most would see killing a slave as a waste. It's more profitable to keep them as subordinates. But with his 5 times XP boost, killing one level 851 elf is like killing 5. Blue energy swirls into his hand. Calmly, he dodges. He looks out at the chaos, thinking of all the EXP still left on the floor. Sylvia's voice pierces through the bloodshed, trembling with tears. "How dare you do this to my master?" The hero leaps down from the stage, blade in hand. This is, he thinks, gripping the hilt tight. He swings the dagger with raw power. It's no heavy sword, but good enough to use roughly and throw away. His level now stands at 165. The things he couldn't do at level 4, they're all possible now.
He even gives a mock farewell. May you rest in peace. He promises the dead elf her sacrifice won't be wasted. With a wicked grin, he admits her death means Sylvia will never fall into slavery. His dream is alive. Then his declaration, it's time to smash the stage and make my dream come true. He charges forward. Sylvia and her elves unleash a volley of arrows, shards of death flying at him, but they shatter harmlessly before touching him. The hero crashes into their formation like a predator. For a moment, he notices his body isn't moving the way he expects. Leveling up didn't stabilize him. It's like his body is acting as it did in his prime. He smirks. It's just a matter of perspective. An elf warrior cries out as he slams into her. Her status window appears. Level 189, struggling. Too slow, too unpolished. And above all, her movements are far too honest. The dagger carves through her with devastating force. A blonde elf warrior barely dodges a dagger flying past her. Big mistake. If she had a dagger, she should have closed the gap, not pulled back. Our main character catches the blade like it's nothing. Instead of scolding her mistake, he just thinks, nice, free dagger. Furious, the elf screams, "You bastard!" and charges sword raised high. Our main character turning back, looking at the elf, internally sighing, is there even a bigger idiot here? The elf lunges with everything she has, blade struts straight at him. But with just the dagger he picked up, our main character parries her strike effortlessly. Sparks fly as steel clashes. The force of his block halts her full-on charge, the ground itself cracking under the pressure. He leans in close, eyes locked on hers, and calmly says, "Hello?" The elf freezes, wide-eyed, unable to process the terrifying gap in power. With a swift punch to her stomach, he sends her flying back in pain. Before she can even recover, he follows up with a brutal kick, leaving her gasping in agony. A yellow glow flashes from his eye behind the mask, signaling a skill activation. But suddenly, boom! A fiery fist slams into his abdomen. Even he looks stunned. What the heck? Fire? Flames spiral out, and the elf reemerges within a swirling inferno, sword burning hot. Caught in her fiery grip, our main character groans, "So you're treating my waist like a steak?" The elf raises her blade, shouting for the fire to converge. A massive ball of flame swells above her. He just smirks and mutters, "Heh." Her confidence instantly breaks. Pain twists across her face, the attack already countered before it even landed. A fiery explosion shakes the battlefield, and our main character thought echoes in his mind. Mortality, and the friends I made just moments ago. Two elves look on in disbelief, one whispering, "Unbelievable," as they realize what just happened, the so-called elf body shield of friendship. The elf who was sacrificed as a shield is hurled across the field. From afar, the archer asks coldly, "Will you shoot again?" But before she can act, our main character appears right at her side, grabbing her mid-motion. Shock flashes in her eyes as he mutters to himself, "This elf? Is she still alive?" In one swift kick, he sends her flying away, then casually picks up another downed elf. Borrowing her sword without hesitation, he quips, "We just met, but I'll be taking this." Without remorse, he uses her body as a shield, intercepting a magic arrow. Her scream of agony tears through the battlefield. Now standing over two broken elves, the masked man raises the bloody sword and mocks her. "Your scream is beautiful. You probably would have sung well too, but I can't hear it anymore." His glowing eye stares coldly, before he suddenly drops to his knees, pretending despair. "No, no, my friend! You can't die from something as simple as blood loss!" From a distance, the archer watches in silence, while his real thoughts betray him. If she dies a natural death, I lose my precious EXP. Then, with a disturbingly cheerful grin, he declares, "Well, guess I'll forget our short friendship from now on." The archer's fury finally erupts. Her voice trembles with rage as she commands, "Kill him! Kill this human!"
The remaining elf warriors charge, weapons raised, screaming they won't forgive him. Magic and fireballs explode through the air as they unleash their fury. The hero just stretches, totally unbothered, thinking, wow, they really mean it. He muses that elves are ruled by emotion, easy to rile up. Flashback to an elf family living peacefully. Their long lifespans and close-knit communities make them fiercely loyal, but that loyalty can be a double-edged sword. A sinister grin creeps across the hero's masked face. Their anger gives him openings, and he's ready to exploit every single one. Besides, I'm not the only one here. The auctioneer orders his men to block the exit. He then commands them to provide cover for the masked dark commerce customer and support his flank. Masked dark commerce guards rush to join the fight alongside the hero. The battle becomes a chaotic melee, with elves clashing against the guards. The hero cries out in frustration as a guard kills an elf, robbing him of experience points. He dashes through the battlefield, annoyed by the interference. He appears as a blur, surrounded by smoke and debris. The hero notes that although the elves are being pushed into a corner, they are still strong. A desperate elf warrior summons her elemental power, looking like she is on the verge of a breakdown. The hero, bleeding from a wound in his chest, thinks that it will be his funeral if he doesn't level up further, and that he must fight with the resolution to lose a finger or two. Blood splatters as the hero makes a decisive move. In a comical chibi style, an elf warrior is shown sitting on the hero's back, holding a dagger to his neck. She says, "Ah," as he complains that she cut him the moment he said that. He angrily headbutts her, yelling that he was trying to regain his composure after she humiliated him. He brutally stabs the elf, shouting, "Compensate with your experience." After the kill, he notices his severed finger on the ground. He picks it up with a pouty expression. A green healing light envelops his hand, and the finger is reattached. Sylvia stands panting in a field of slaughtered guards, facing the hero. He mocks her dagger, claiming it looks a bit crooked, probably just his imagination. Sylvia glares at him with pure hatred and asks, "Are you a demon?" The hero grins, feigning sadness at her question. He points out that they both committed a massacre, as they stand surrounded by the corpses of elves and guards. The hero's internal monologue identifies Sylvia as the sole survivor, just like in his first run. However, he notes that his interference has changed the timeline. Because the dark commerce couldn't take a hostage, they couldn't stop Sylvia's rampage, and the black market was nearly destroyed as a result, with many more humans dying. The hero can tell how many humans died just by looking at the princess's new level. A status window shows she is leveled up to 288 and is now fractured, bleeding, exhausted, self-reproaching. The hero acknowledges that she went up by many levels, but so did he. A status window reveals he is now level 203 with the status Regenerating Chaos. The hero mockingly expresses his gratitude to the elves, who turned into experience for my sake. Sylvia trembles with rage, as the hero notes there is now only one batch of EXP left. The hero's eye gleams as he thinks, "I can't miss this." Sylvia screams, "Demon!" She raises her sword, glowing with golden light, and declares that he will die there with her as she summons earth elementals. The ground cracks and shatters as the elementals are summoned. The hall begins to collapse, and the surviving guards and staff flee in terror. The hero calmly asks Sylvia if she would mind holding back, as he knows what she's thinking. He warns her that if she collapses the hall, the elven corpses will become useless. Sylvia is shocked that he knew this and still proceeded. The hero's monologue explains that elven corpses can be traded at a high price. Just as a virgin symbolizes purity, the blood and bones of elves are often used as magic catalysts that hold the meaning of eternity. Our MC holds a dagger, thinking that the elven corpses need to be dismantled, like a butcher does to their meat. A horrified Sylvia declares that she can't disregard her dead comrades and run away. The hero taunts her, asking if she wants to turn the place into a burial ground for everyone. He continues to mock her, pointing out that she was the one who invited her comrades into this hell of an ant's nest.
A sinister close-up shows the hero's demonic grin from behind his mask as he asks, "Isn't that so?" Sylvia screams at him, calling him a demon and blaming him for the disastrous outcome of their raid. She insists they would have won the battle if he hadn't been there. The hero dismisses her argument, stating that it's a nuisance to involve comrades who aren't prepared for defeat. He takes off his broken mask and lets it fall to the ground. The hero stands unmasked, revealing his face to Sylvia. The surviving dark commerce staff look on in shock as the collapse of the hall suddenly stops. Sylvia's bewildered, desperately calling to her elementals and asking why they stopped.
She screams at them, demanding to know why they are protecting the demon. Our MC lunges forward with unyielding fury, his strike cutting through Sylvia. His eyes show no hesitation, only the will to dominate. In this instant, he's not just fighting, he's overwhelming. He explains that the elementals regard him as far more important than a bitch who uses her friends to murder someone under the guise of friendship. Blood splatters the hero's triumphant, grinning face. A tearful and shocked Sylvia looks up at him, her eyes widening as she recognizes him and whispers, Hero? Sylvia's internal monologue states that the elementals love nature. An image of the Demon King Pedonar appears as her thought continues. To protect nature, they need the hero to slay the Demon King. RMC, with his left foot on the dagger, asking rhetorically if it wouldn't be worse for everyone if he were buried alive and died, saying, "Let's not meet a third time, Sylvia."
The film strip-style recap shows a chibi version of our MC standing triumphantly over a defeated Elf Queen, explaining the future Elf Queen became a stepping stone for the hero, which was a truly privileged end for her. The film strip concludes with the words, "It went great. It's good." Meanwhile, back in Castle, purple-hued room where the god of this world, Professor Morals, stands with her arms crossed, looking very angry. A much younger version of the hero, Kang Han-soo, looks up with a nervous and sweaty expression. Professor Morals stands over Kang Han-soo, who is sitting timidly on a bed, and asks him, "So you massacred the elves?" She lectures him, explaining that revenge and anger give birth to a difficult and bothersome daughter called cruelty. She continues her lesson, illustrating that good is as heavy as lead, while evil is as light as a feather. She looks down at Kang Han-soo with a serious expression. She tells him that even if he defeats the Demon King, it seems like graduating will be hard for him. Our MC with wide-eyed looks very shocked. He leaps up from the bed, shouting, "That's unfair, respected Professor Morals." A flashback shows the elves attacking him as he argues that they were the ones who attacked him first. Professor Morals quotes a proverb, "Patience brings peace, and impatience brings regret." She asks if things wouldn't have turned out well had he just endured it, while Kang Han-soo internally scoffs at the shitty advice of enduring a sword fight. Professor Morals offers another proverb, "Patience and time can do a lot more than power or anger." She addresses student Kang Han-soo, telling him not to rush and to calmly look around. She extends her hand towards him and asks, "What do you see?" Kang Han-soo looks down at her hand, pondering the question with a thoughtful, puckered expression. He hesitantly answers her question with a single word, "Experience?" Kang Han-soo shows him confidently thinking, "I think I can kill the Sword King now." Professor Morals scolds him, "Don't look at your weak comrades as experience." Professor Morals drops a proverb, "A dwarf on a giant's shoulder sees farther," as we see a tiny figure perched against a sunset. She adds another, "When a priest and farmer unite, their wisdom grows," backed by praying hands beside a scarecrow. Professor Morals points her finger up, and she points straight at Kang Han-soo. "This is your homework." A blurry smiling emoji pops up as Han-soo groans at this impossible task. She vanishes in purple light, saying they'll meet again in 2 days. Alone, Han-soo mutters, "Build harmony." He crashes onto his bed, whining she didn't even say who he had to build it with. Snap back to present, Lanuel interrupts, asking what's on his mind. She walks in hauling a big sack over her shoulder. Han-soo, now in modern clothes, turns from the window. "What are you doing here?" A chibi Lanuel pops up, chirping she's here to help. He snaps, reminding her she was supposed to handle the black market mess. His face twists in rage. Sending elf corpses back wasn't that simple. While a terrified chibi Lanuel trembles. She stammers she already did everything he ordered. Flashback, bloody sacks piled up, reminding Han-soo that elf corpses make valuable magic materials. He recalls Lanuel refusing to just dump the bodies at the black market. Her reasoning shows up, better than letting them be butchered and sold, with a cow diagram marked for cutting. Han-soo grins darkly, thinking he won't let others profit off his kills.
while Lanuel mistakes it for him respecting his fallen foes. Our MC asks Lanuel if she handled the families of the dead guards. She shouts yes. Inside her head, Lanuel groans about dragging all those elf corpses from the 5th floor to the palace. She sighs, thinking how much easier it would have been with elevators. The hero narrates he used his gold stash to buy the elf corpses dirt cheap. He even slipped cash to black market officials to transport the bodies safely. He asks Lanuel how talks went with the Elf King. Beaming, orb in hand, Lanuel says everything went smooth and an elf delegation will visit soon. She grips her orb, remembering he told her to use that gold no matter what. He admits he blew all his savings on elf corpses. Refilling it won't be easy. He thinks just because he's the hero doesn't mean people feed him for free. A cheerful vendor offers him food anyway. He snacks while strolling, relieved the vendor didn't scam him. He reflects, without travel funds, he would have starved even on this second run. Another bite, and he recalls how everyone misread his level at the 3rd summoning. Wicked grin, as level 4. Cut to the Elf King sitting high on his throne. The hero explains, thanks to the trick, even the king couldn't blame him for his daughter's death. With all the guards dead, there were no witnesses, and he made sure Lanuel reported it as a mutual wipeout. Suddenly, a voice calls, "Hey, hero!" Alex slaps him on the back, joking his new job is Undertaker. Alex grins with wide face intense. The hero scowls, thinking he can't stop the rumors flying around. He shrugs it off, too childish to even bother with. At the kingdom's elite training grounds, Alex blocks him, asking what he's doing there. Hansu says he's just passing by. Knights spar hard, prepping for battle. Alex reminds him it's only 2 days till his big debut. Alex grins dark and cocky. He's really looking forward to it. Hansu glares back, cool as ice. Me too! Sparks crackle between them, rivalry heating up. Hansu calmly sizes up Alex. A status window pops. Alex, level 291, human swordsman, S-rank swordsmanship, status expectant. Hansu suddenly remembers Professor Moral's homework, build harmony, with a smile. He nods to himself, right. He opens his arms and says the rumor's true, his new job is Undertaker. Flashing an angelic smile, he points at him to build your coffin, Alex. Alex grinds his teeth in pure rage. His face twists, veins bulging, fury overflowing.
The hero thinks, Sword King Alex isn't just flashy swordplay, he's a born tanker. A lone warrior battles in chaos, showing what it really means to be a swordsman, protect allies while cutting down foes. A warrior stands tall after victory. True strength is skill plus endurance. Red-eyed Alex snarls while the hero explains Alex earned Sword King for shielding comrades like a wall and pulling off solo missions. The hero smirks internally. Soon, Alex will learn the real top Sword King is him. Aura blazing red, Alex sneers the hero's tongue could kill even the Demon King. Hansu shrugs it off with, who knows, as La Nouvelle panics beside them. Chibi Demon King stamps fail on young Hansu. He admits he'd lose in a word battle back then. Our MC glows purple with resolve. This time, he swears victory. He offers to ditch the 2-day wait and start guiding immediately. Alex mocks if Hansu wants that apology faster, he should crawl around the market. Hansu turns his back. I'm not in a hurry. Get lost. He walks off smirking, leaving Alex fuming behind. Hansu thinks if he starts training, his true level will slip out. To dodge the Elf King's suspicion, he has to keep playing as level 4. He decides he'll snag an alibi for his real level soon. Plan, pretend to grind inside ancient ruins. He reflects he's actually endured by following Professor Moral's lessons. But now insults slide off like water. He slips in through a window, wondering if he's a genius. La Nouvelle calls to him. Bright-eyed, she asks what he's doing today. Hansu eyes her carefully. Maybe the black market incident rattled her more than he thought. The hero mutters, it's not like I piled up a mountain of corpses, as men drag away bloody sacks in a flashback. La Nouvelle beams, while our MC asks what happened to their new comrade. She clarifies, she means the mercenary. The hero thinks the mercenary was supposed to be XP, but after Professor Moral's warning, he'll just use him as a pack mall.
Flashback, first run, the hero treks through remote lands, chasing ancient civilizations. He notes this time he won't waste effort, he'll head straight to what he needs. His grin turns sharp and confident. MC asks if the mercenary's health has bounced back. She chirps he's fired up, proud to be the hero's comrade instead of a slave. She adds his appetite is so huge it's scaring the palace chefs. The hero smiles, glad the level 28 mercenary is on the mend. He reflects on how massive level-ups are in this survival world. Diagram shows, unlike RPGs, leveling here boosts everything: lifespan, agility, resistance, strength. Flashback, his younger, demonic self grinding for 10 years, just a minor trip in hindsight. He realizes the teaching staff, or whoever controls them, can reset all that any time. With his 5xb bonus, getting crazy skills would be simple. But he admits none of it, magic, sorcery elements, were never truly his. They're just illusions. Clenching his fist, he declares science is the only truth and power. He decides to wean off skills and gear, useless once he's back on Earth. The same goes for the Holy Sword. No way they'll let him bring a nuclear weapon home after killing the Demon King. Scene shifts. The hero strolls through a bustling market. He steps into a blacksmith's shop. Nearby, a female blacksmith sharpens a spearhead with focus. The hero scratches his head, annoyed, too few useful shops. Lanouville bounces, asking if they're prepping for an adventure and where they're heading. He explains it's not a trip you finish in a day. Even with teleport magic, it'll still take 2. Chibi Lanouville punts her fist. We'll leave right after the elves pass. The hero smirks. No way he's walking on his own 2 feet. He thinks the best way to travel is fast and comfy, and with his money, he can afford it. Flashback, a villager picking a fight with an orc. The hero vows not to be slowed down by such nonsense. A gold coin gleams. Lesson learned in his first run, money buys time and safety. As our MC talk, Lanouville cuts in by saying they'll need the king's permission for long-distance travel. But our MC confidently declares the king will agree, because he knows exactly what the Dumpling King wants. He will promise to return quickly. The hero notes Alex will tag along as their watchdog, though probably useless. In an alleyway, Lanouville asks if the ruins are their goal. He says no. With sharpens and sinister face, he reveals their destination, to meet a mighty being. Bartender Tony appears in memory, his spiritual teacher. But this time, the being he seeks is his physical power mentor. He recalls meeting this mentor by chance last run, but now he can head straight there. Lanouville guesses Elder Dragon. He scoffs. It's rude to compare him to a flying lizard. Orb glowing, Lanouville asks why it's strange for him to admire someone. She teases. He always looks down on everyone like he knows it all. He fires back because they deserve it. He rants. These people brag about magic, yet can't even invent flesh toilets. How could he see them as equals? Chibi Hero launches into their expedition plan for Lanouville. Suddenly, a royal guard rushes in. His Majesty is looking for the hero. The guard announces the Elfheim delegation has arrived. Hero and Lanouville exchange serious looks.
The hero notes it hasn't even been a day, yet the elf delegation is already here. He smirks. Fine by him, less waiting. He tells the guard, let the king handle them. He just wants his money. The guard replies, the elves specifically want to meet him. Hansu orders a refusal, but the guard, sweating, says that's impossible. The reason? The first prince of Elfheim is with them. The prince and his entourage stride down a red carpet into the royal hall. Hansu snaps, damn it, while Chibi Lanouville gasps. He panics. An insanely strong mid-boss is calling him out. He sighs. No choice but to go. Scene shifts. The royal castle bathed in sunset glow. Inside the lavish hall, the nobles are dining. But Hansu and Lanouville, now dressed up, step inside. Hansu freezes. What? As Lanouville nervously flips through a book. She blurts it's the first time she's ever seen him rattled.
His thoughts race. He had no idea the first prince would be here. He thinks of the royal elves, Arc-Elf, one of the strongest races, eternal in this world. Elves don't age, and leveling grants them immunity to diseases. Royals only die by murder, and few can match them. As he watches the cake, Hansu recalls levels, once gained, never drop. He remembers special powers might strip them away, but they never just decrease on their own. The hero explains levels never drop, so XP stacks like sediment, making elves endlessly strong. Skills might fade, but like levels, they can always be sharpened again. A massive, ornate door creaks open. A blonde elf prince appears, calm and regal in the doorway. Status window, level 999 plus, Arc-Elf Swordsman, SS rank swordsmanship. The hero thinks monsters like this exist because elves live long and power just piles on. He recalls heroes max at level 999. Anything higher just shows with a plus sign. From here on, the hero admits only luck and instinct can gauge true power. Flashback to training with Alex, he remembers wasting years preparing for this invisible level. Another flashback, the demon king Pedonar lies defeated, far weaker than expected. Back in the grand hall, nobles mingle. The hero admits this elf prince feels scarier than the demon king, maybe because he hadn't prepared for him. Nasus approaches our MC and bows deeply. He introduces himself with a smile. Nasus, honored to meet the legendary hero. He thanks the hero for protecting his sister and fellow elves. He insists, no titles, just call him Nasus. The hero has earned that right. The hero is stunned. So unlike Sylvia. Not all elves are violent after all. He flashes a dazzling smile. Pleasure to meet you, Nasus. He adds he sincerely hopes for a future where humans and elves can harmonize. Nasus smiles warmly, agreeing with the prayer. Their hands clasp firmly in a show of goodwill. Both delegations raise their glasses high. Cheers to harmony between races. The hero, holding a cocktail, cheerfully thinks that it's not bad to get closer to the middle boss, and that he's in the middle of practicing his moral teacher's lessons. The scene shifts to a balcony at night, where Prince Nasus stares out at the starry sky, lamenting that his motherland, Elfheim, is slowly heading towards destruction. He explains that the current elf king is covering his eyes and ears and still looks down on humans. Nasus philosophizes that living for eternity is both a blessing and a curse, as carelessness can make you lose track of time. He accidentally cuts his finger while fiddling with a small object and exclaims, "Oh my," noting that he is going through a lot. Nasus apologizes for showing his disgraceful side to the hero, blaming it on drinking too much out of excitement. The hero laughs it off. The hero's internal monologue reveals his growing admiration for Nasus. He lists Nasus's positive qualities and finding nothing to criticize. He thinks Nasus is such a gentleman that he could be possessed by a modern man from Earth. The hero's monologue confirms his suspicion that the current elf king's eyes are mere decorations. Another flashback shows the elf king isolated in his kingdom. As the narration explains, he stuck to a policy of seclusion for hundreds of years, refusing to interact with the humans who took over the central continent. Our MC, in his mind, criticizes the elf king for appointing the ridiculous Sylvia as his successor. A flashback shows Sylvia sleeping through a lesson on the discipline of kingship. Another flashback shows Sylvia playfully adventuring outside the kingdom, having fun instead of fulfilling her duties. Sylvia was strong enough to beat a mid-ranked demon. She was a brutal narcissist who would burn alive any human weaker than her who dared to flirt with her. The hero thinks that he can now understand why the first prince, Nasus, standing over the dead body of the elf king with a sword, having carried out a coup d'etat to take the throne. Prince Nasus tells the hero that he warned his sister Sylvia many times not to look down on humans, but she only smirked at his words. He expected this day would come, but it still saddens him. Nasus's status window appears, showing satisfied.
The hero notices it, and even La Nouvelle's eyes well up with tears. The hero thinks to himself, the status makes perfect sense. He remembers how the elf king doted on Sylvia, whose hatred for humans bordered on madness. The favoritism was so strong, the king even took the throne from his capable son, Nasus. The hero looks at Nasus and quietly says, "You must have been heartbroken." Nasus admits his greatest fear is Sylvia's fate becoming Elfheim's future. He clasps the hero's hand, pleading for his help against the Demon King and promises full support from the elves. With firm resolve, he commands his attendant to bring it. The attendant steps forward and places a long, ornate box before the hero. The hero's eyes widen in shock at what lies inside. A cloaked elf presents Nasus's cherished sword and Million, one of Elfheim's 3 great treasures. With a warm smile, Nasus asks the hero to return it once he has obtained the holy sword. The hero lifts the magnificent, glowing Endemilion against the light of the full moon. La Nouvelle watches in awe, dazzled by its brilliance. The hero bows respectfully, saying he will never forget Nasus's sincerity. But under that bow is his smiling face, though inside his thoughts are far darker. With a wicked grin, he thinks to himself, "I'm sorry, but I have no intention of ever returning Endemilion." He adds, "I really won't forget."